Hi, we go to the sixth video in the series. We'll talk about the rotator cuff injuries. So, we're not going by any order. It's more like what are the questions which have been more commonly asked, and the two more recently. Okay. So, rotator cuff injuries. First, we'll a little bit about what is the rotator cuff. So, rotator cuff has four muscles: supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor. Okay, and subscapularis. So supraspinatus helps in the initiation of abduction. Infraspinatus and teres minor, they are external rotators of the shoulder, and subscapularis is an internal rotator of the shoulder. Okay, so infraspinatus and teres minor usually go together. And where do they attach? That's another question that they keep asking. SIT, you should be aware of this mnemonic. So supraspinatus, infraspinatus, and teres minor. From top to bottom is the attachment over the greater tuberosity of the humerus. Okay. Whereas the subscapularis, which is the internal rotator, so it cannot get attached here. So whatever is abducting or external rotating gets attached here. Whatever is internal rotating is getting attached here. That is the lesser tuberosity. That is the subscapularis. Okay. So this is a little bit about the um, the rotator cuff muscles. So rotator cuff injury, they have asked when to operate about the rotator cuff injury. Again, as I said, don't go into every detail of all these things. These are very advanced orthopedics, to be very honest, and I'm really surprised that these are being asked at the level of entrance exam into postgraduate programs. But still, you have to know, if they're asking it, you have to know it. So when do you need to operate a patient with rotator cuff injury? So usually first 3 months you should give a trial of conservative management. So whoever is symptomatic beyond 3 months, operation. Okay. And then when a patient, there is an acute rupture of the rotator cuff in a patient more than 70 years, this is older patient, you can manage them conservatively. Surgery is contraindicated in these patients with acute rotator cuff injury more than 70 years. So what is the indication for surgery? Young patient with partial thickness rotator cuff tear or full thickness rotator cuff tear. That is a typical indication. So what are the approaches? There is an open approach. There is a uh, arthroscopic approach. So of late, everything is being done by arthroscopy. So you should opt for, if there is a choice of an arthroscopic approach, you should opt for the arthroscopic approach. So what are the advantages of using an arthroscopic approach? There is obviously less tissue, soft tissue damage. There is a quicker rehabilitation. That's better cosmesis, very small incision. And whenever you do arthroscope, you can actually see on either both sides of the rotator cuff. So when you go by open, you can see only from the outside. But whenever, if you go by scope, it's a small scope, right? So you can probe it inside. You can go above the rotator cuff, below the rotator cuff. So it helps in good visualization on either side of the rotator cuff. One, and then it helps. So you can, when you see the whole side, both sides of the rotator cuff, you can very clearly say if it is truly a partial thickness injury or full thickness injury. So this is very important. Okay. So whenever you see anything, if there is a choice of arthroscopic procedure, especially in younger patients, you should choose that. Okay. So what are all the steps of the procedure? One part. So what is the most important rotator cuff muscle? It is the supraspinatus. The supraspinatus actually comes through the comes under what we call as a coracoacromial arch, right? Okay. So supraspinatus tendon, it is the most important of these rotator cuff tendons, and it passes under the coracoacromial arch, which is the coracoid process, and then there is the acromion. And then in between them there is a coracoacromial ligament. So it's like a bridge, and there is a tunnel below that, and through that the supraspinatus keeps moving, and that's capable of getting injured. So any of these surgeries, you need to do what is called as an acromioplasty. What is an acromioplasty? They can ask you. It can be an open acromioplasty or arthroscopic acromioplasty. In acromioplasty, so there is the process. There is an acromion process, and between them is the coracoacromial ligament. So release of the coracoacromial ligament of the antero-inferior part. Antero-inferior part is in close contact with the supraspinatus tendon. So the osteotomy of the antero-inferior part of the acromion, that's called as acromioplasty. So two components, coracoacromial ligament release and osteotomy of the antero-inferior part of acromion. Okay, this is acromioplasty, which is always done in these cases because that is the tunnel through which the rotator cuff keeps moving, and that is one major reason for these rotator cuff injuries. Okay, then you have to do something for the rotator cuff per se, right? So what needs to be done? So it can be again an open repair or an arthroscopic repair of the rotator cuff tendon. So when can you do a repair? So when you can actually, whenever that it's possible, in a young patient who is having a rotator cuff tendon rupture, which can be reconstructed, then you should think of a repair, okay, repair procedure. However, if it is not repairable, that is, then what are the other things that should be done? One is acromioplasty or subacromial decompression. Those are the other terms, because below the acromion you are decompressing the tissue. Okay, and then you need to if it is not reconstructable, so you have to debride, right? Whatever tendon is all ruptured and all that, so you need to debride that, and then you do one of the tendon transfer procedures. So if the rotator cuff, so what is the procedure? You do an acromioplasty or subacromial decompression. That is one part, open or arthroscopic. Second part, if it is repairable, reconstructible, then open or arthroscopic repair. And third part, if it is not open, if it is not repairable, especially in a young patient, you should look at one of the tendon transfer procedures. So what are all the common tendon transfer procedures? So if it is an anterosuperior tendon defect, okay, of the rotator cuff, then what are all the muscles that can come? You can do a pectoralis major or a teres major transfer, okay, tendon transfer. And then if it is a postro a superior irreparable defect, then you use the latissimus dorsi tendon transfer, okay. Otherwise, you can do what is called as a supraspinatus advancement. So whatever is debride and then advance the remaining. And then the other procedures, you can do what is called as a rotator cuff transposition. You can do a fascia lata allograft can be used, or a synthetic tendon allograft. So basically, you're not able to repair, right? So you have to use some way to reconstruct. Either use some autograft or allograft or some tendon transfer or some synthetic tendon. Okay, so this is all about the rotator cuff injuries. So ultimately, if these repairs and reconstructions were in young patients, okay. If it is an old patient, then you can do what is called as an arthroplasty. So anywhere like any other joint replacement, you can do a joint replacement. So basically, what happens with rotator cuff injuries? It's not the rotator cuff that alone causes the issue. The rotator cuff stabilizes the shoulder joint. So you have an injury, especially in an old patient, and the patient does not have a stable shoulder joint. It keeps on rubbing, and they go on to develop early shoulder arthritis. So if arthritis is only the problem and otherwise there is stability, then you do a hemiarthroplasty of the shoulder joint. If it is a very highly unstable shoulder, then you do what is called as a reverse shoulder arthroplasty. Okay, this has also been asked, and all these arthroplasties are not for young patients. If there is a young patient asked, then your answer is very, very clear. It's acromioplasty with tendon rotator cuff repair or a rotator cuff reconstruction with one of the tendon transfers. Okay, if it is only an old patient, then you talk about all these arthroplasties. In reverse shoulder arthroplasty, what is done? So this is a ball, right? This is a ball and this is the socket. Socket is the glenoid and the ball is the humeral head. This is normal. When you do reverse shoulder arthroplasty, because this is all very unstable, the glenoid actually becomes the ball, and then the humerus, what you replace is like the socket. So it's like this. So you can't move up anywhere. Okay, it's like this humeral head is made like this, the component, and it goes into the ball of the glenoid. Okay,